"My sweet children," Amma said, her soft voice covering the sharpness in her eyes. "Tonight you begin your new life. Soon you will see the great cities and bring pride to your families." In a village nestled beside the slow, winding river, there was a house unlike any other. It stood tall and proud at the edge of the dusty town, its walls shining white under the bright African sun. The windows were large and gleaming, like eyes that watched over the village. Around the house bloomed flowers in bright reds, yellows, and purples, filling the air with their sweet scent. The villagers called it Amma's house, and they whispered many things about the woman who lived there. Amma was known far and wide as a woman of kindness and wealth. She was the richest person in the village, but also the one who seemed to care most. She wore beautiful clothes of silk and gold, but her smile was warm and gentle when she spoke to people. She never raised her voice, and her laughter was soft like a song. Every month, without fail, families would come to Amma's gate, carrying their daughters with hopes shining in their eyes. Mothers held their daughters close, while fathers walked proudly but with worry hidden deep in their hearts. The journey was long for some, but the promise Amma offered made every step worth the trouble. The village square buzzed with stories on those days. People gathered in small groups, speaking quietly of the families traveling to Amma's house. "Have you heard? Another family is going to Amma this month," one woman would say. "Yes," another would answer. "My cousin's daughter went last year. They say she is now working in the city and sends money every month." Children playing in the dusty streets would stop and listen when the elders spoke. They heard the stories of faraway lands and airplanes, places filled with gold and hope. Amma welcomed every family with open arms. At her great white door, she listened patiently to the stories of struggle and pain, of hunger and sickness. Her eyes shone with compassion, and her words brought comfort. "You are giving your children the greatest gift," Amma said softly. "They will travel far, beyond the river and the hills, to cities filled with opportunity. They will find work and send money home. Millions will come to your family." The families believed her because of the gifts she gave. Amma was generous. She gave food to the hungry, cloth to the poor, and coins to widows and orphans. At market days, children would run to her with open hands, and Amma would smile and hand them sweet treats or colorful beads. Each new month, the line at Amma's gate grew longer. Mothers whispered prayers, hoping their daughters would be chosen. Fathers spoke quietly of the bright future Amma promised. Inside her house, the girls stayed for days. They learned to walk with grace, to speak politely, to dress in the way Amma said would prepare them for their journey. They practiced smiles that would charm strangers and gestures that showed respect. Letters sometimes came back to the village. Some families received money and gifts, proof that Amma's promises were true. For a while, hope blossomed like wildflowers in dry soil. But as the months passed, a shadow grew in the hearts of the villagers. Whispers began to spread. "Not all the girls return," some said, casting wary glances at each other. "Where do they go?" others wondered, but no one dared ask aloud. Amma's kindness was a shield no one wished to break. Her house stood bright and white in the sun, but behind its walls lay secrets darker than the night. Amma was careful in her choices. Only the prettiest and strongest girls stayed with her. The rest were sent away with cold words and empty smiles. The chosen girls were made to swear a terrible oath. "Speak no word of what happens here," Amma warned in a voice sharp as a spear. "Anyone who breaks this oath will die." Fear settled deep in the girls' hearts, but they dared not disobey. One moonless night, Amma led the chosen girls to the riverbank. The water was black and still, hiding secrets beneath its surface. Small boats waited quietly among the reeds, their shapes hidden in the dark. The journey on those boats was long and cold. Some girls fell ill and never recovered. Others disappeared, swallowed by shadows no one spoke of. The river kept its secrets, carrying the girls far away from the village to places where Amma's power grew stronger. In distant cities, Amma sold the girls to men who used them for cruel and terrible things. They were trapped in pain and silence, far from home and hope. Back in the village, Amma lied. She told the families their daughters were busy working hard and sending money home. Families waited and prayed, clutching letters filled with promises and money. But many daughters never returned. Among those who came this month was a girl named Nia. Nia was 16 years old, with eyes bright as the morning sun and a heart full of dreams. She helped her mother carry heavy baskets to the market each day and wished for a life beyond the dusty streets. When Amma came to their small home, promising riches and travel to faraway lands, Nia and her mother believed her words. With hope and fear, Nia stepped through Amma's white gates. Inside, the house was silent and cold, so different from the noisy market she knew. She saw other girls like herself, eyes wide with hope and fear. Amma's smile was warm, but her eyes were sharp and cold. Nia did not know what awaited her. The river whispered dark secrets outside, and Amma's house held shadows that would change everything. Inside Amma's bright house, the days turned heavy and cold for Nia. She had arrived with hope in her chest, but in just a few nights, that hope turned to fear and anger. By day, Amma's women taught Nia and the other girls how to dress and walk like rich city women. They made the girls practice smiling, bowing, and speaking in soft voices. They said these lessons would prepare them for jobs as maids in rich houses or shopkeepers in faraway cities. But at night, the truth crept through cracks in the white walls. The older girls whispered when Amma's guards slept. Nia learned quickly. There were no airplane tickets. There were no city jobs waiting. The girls were not going abroad to study or work. They were being sent across the river to foreign cities to be used and sold, forced into prostitution. When Nia first heard it, her belly turned to stone. She thought of her mother's smiling face when Amma promised riches. She thought of all the girls who had left before her, their families still waiting for letters that never came home. Nia knew she could not wait. She had to act before it was too late. One night, she pretended to sleep but kept her eyes open under her blanket. She watched the guards at the door, listened to their slow breathing when they drifted off. Beside her, Titi, one of the older girls, lay awake too. "Titi," Nia whispered, "we can't stay. We will die if we go on that river." Titi shivered. Her voice cracked when she spoke. "Amma will kill us if we run." "No," Nia said. Her voice was small but steady. "We will run because she wants to break us. We will tell everyone. We will show them what she does." They spent the next day watching for a chance. Nia noticed how Amma's trusted guard left the back fence at dawn to relieve himself by the tree behind the house. She noticed how the dogs were fed just before the river journey at midnight, the only time they were too lazy to bark. That night, Amma came to their room with her cold smile. 7 girls, including Nia and Titi, were dressed in bright cloth and fake gold chains. Amma's women tied their wrists together loosely. "My sweet children," Amma said, her soft voice covering the sharpness in her eyes. "Tonight you begin your new life. Soon you will see the great cities and bring pride to your families." Nia stared at Amma's beautiful dress, green silk with a gold scarf covering her hair. She wondered how many girls Amma had stolen to buy that dress. She swallowed her fear and bowed her head. Amma led them through the backyard to the river, where 3 small boats waited, hidden under thick reeds. 2 men stood there smoking cheap cigarettes, laughing quietly in the dark. They never saw Nia slip the small piece of broken glass from under her sleeve. When Amma turned to talk to the boatman, Nia pressed the glass to the rope around her wrists. The rope frayed. She cut Titi's too. They locked eyes. There was no turning back. Nia took a deep breath, remembering her mother's face, then screamed into the cold night. "Help! She's selling us! Help!" Amma spun around, her eyes wide with rage. The boatman lunged, but Titi shoved one so hard he fell into the water with a splash. Nia and Titi grabbed the other girl's hands and ran back toward the house. Away from the boats, away from the dark river that swallowed too many dreams. Dogs barked. Guards shouted. The village lights flickered to life. Nia ran straight through the front gates, dragging the other girls behind her. She did not stop until she reached the market square. There she fell to her knees, panting, her voice raw as she screamed again. "She lied. She sells us to men. She makes us do prostitution. She sends us away on boats." Villagers poured out of their houses, carrying lanterns and torches. Mothers gasped when they saw their daughters' torn clothes and bleeding feet. Fathers' faces turned hard with anger. The chief's son pushed through the crowd, holding up his phone to call the police. Before dawn, sirens wailed through the village. The police stormed Amma's bright white house. They found bags of fake papers and money hidden under the floorboards. They found lists of names, girls who never returned. They found Amma trying to sneak out the back door, her silk dress muddy, her gold scarf fallen from her head. She was barefoot, whispering to herself as if she could talk her way out of this like she always did. But this time the villagers were awake, the police were here, and the river had spoken through Nia's brave scream. Amma was dragged from her house in handcuffs. She hissed and spat, but her voice was small and weak without her walls to hide behind. The other girls were rescued at the riverbank just before dawn. Shaking, they hugged their mothers and fathers as the police carried them to safety. Some wept. Some just stared at the sunrise, amazed they were alive. Nia stood by her mother's side as the sun rose. Her mother pressed her forehead to Nia's and whispered, "You brought light to our darkness." The villagers gathered in the market square that evening. They spoke not in whispers but in strong, angry voices. They promised never again to trust a smile without seeing the truth behind it. They promised to watch out for each other's daughters, to guard them like treasures. When Amma's trial came, people traveled from far villages to watch her stand before the law. The truth poured out like the river after the heavy rains, all her secrets, all her lies, all the pain she had hidden behind her white walls. Amma was sentenced to spend the rest of her days in prison. Her riches meant nothing now. The house she built so proudly was taken apart, brick by brick, until only the flowers remained, growing wild and free under the sun. Nia walked by the river sometimes. She watched the water flow and whispered her thanks. The same river that carried so many secrets had carried her voice to the people when they needed to hear it most. And so the village learned, no secret can hide forever. Even the river will give it back when a brave heart speaks.